Are you ready to have some longevity and sustainability within your wardrobe? What does that even mean, and should I? Well, let's talk about it. So, what is sustainable fashion? Let me share with you a couple of the things that I found when I was doing my research on this topic. Sustainable fashion is a term that describes clothing and the fashion industry's efforts to be more environmentally and socially responsible. It aims to reduce the industry's environmental impact, protect workers, and support animal welfare throughout the entire life cycle of a garment, from creation to disposal. I don't think I've ever thought about it in those terms, from creation to disposal. So I want you to keep that in mind for yourself as I walk through some of these other things that are also referred to as sustainable fashion. The other catchphrases are ethical fashion. This covers the production, working conditions, fair trade practices. Ethical fashion is a moralistic stance of a company takes to ensure no human beings or animals are hurt during their manufacturing practices. There's circular fashion. This is an offshoot of the circular economy and advocates that all materials and products in society are used and circulated among people for as long as possible in an environmentally safe, effective, and fair manner. This encompasses things like recycling, upcycling, and thrifting. And that's probably the most common thought of what sustainable fashion is more that circular fashion. Then there's conscious fashion. This is a more of a message to get across to consumers, explaining and encouraging them to buy eco-friendly products and get behind green fashion movements. I probably fall into more of the camp of the circular fashion than I do to conscious fashion. And then finally, slow fashion. Slow fashion is the antithesis of fast fashion. And we talked about fast fashion in a previous podcast. Taking a long term view and considering the whole product life cycle, which would go to what I said earlier about thinking from creation to disposal. This includes sharing or renting clothes, as well as the quality of garments to help them last longer, thus reduce the need to buy new ones. Now, fast fashion is all about consume, fast, 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 switch out the old for the new as fast as possible. That's why we see almost weekly micro trends that support that way of consuming products. Now, I definitely have switched a little bit of my mindset when it comes to how I look at my wardrobe and how I am moving more towards that slow fashion or more towards that circular fashion when it comes to my wardrobe and my thoughts about my wardrobe and my thoughts about purchasing. So, is sustainable fashion really necessary? I think that comes to a personal choice, whether you believe that it is or that it isn't. But let's talk about this thing that's being so debated of fast fashion versus sustainable fashion. And that is, there is a few facts that are proven, and then you can decide where you stand on how you want to implement these facts into your purchasing decisions or how you don't. It's completely up to you. I just want to present the facts. So, most clothing garments are made of plastic. So, if you're somebody that is big on recycling plastic, recycling those things, a lot of garments are produced with plastic. Now, plastic is one of the most damaging production to our air and lifestyle quality. Textile mills are responsible for 20% of the air and water pollution. Now, the oil industry is number one in that. Number two is textile mills. And there has been much debate about banning brands that don't fall into this sustainable fashion thought process and who don't take into consideration the damage that it is doing to our air and to the quality of our water. Now, where you come out on that is completely your own personal opinion. I just wanted to give you that information. I will tell you how I am working it into how I think about my wardrobe and think about my clothing and think about my buying purchases as we move forward and talking about this. By the way, I want to welcome you. My name is Amanda Hall, and this is the Dress with Purpose podcast. And I share all things fashion and I teach, help, encourage, and inspire you to dress with purpose. So let's keep talking about that. Should we really care about sustainable fashion and what the products or the clothing that we wear, what it causes the environment? Well, being aware of the statistics has switched my perspective slightly. It's hard to avoid garments, clothing that are made with plastic. I mean, most of the garments are made of rayon, plastic, polyester, plastic. More affordable clothing is made with those products. Now, there are products that are more sustainable, say your pure wool, your pure cashmere, but that has some issues on its own with heat production and what seasons you can wear those in. There's also sustainable silk, which it would be more of a summer wear. There are companies and there are brands that focus on sustainable materials. One of the companies I'm familiar with that is very much a sustainable company is Lily Silk. There are many, 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 many more that are sustainable, and then there are ones that are very much not. Most of your fast fashion brands, fast fashion places to buy clothing are not sustainable for the most part. I would say 99.9% of the racks in most stores are not sustainable. So, although I care about the environment and environmental needs and social needs, the way I will implement that into my buying purchases or my making purchases, consuming products has shifted just slightly. And that is that I'm going to a more longevity, conscious decisions about the clothing that I purchase, that I consume. I am much more thoughtful about the things that I buy and how they will work into my wardrobe. I have created a sustainable capsule wardrobe of products that have been in my wardrobe for some time. I continue to have them in my wardrobe. I am more conscious and more aware of my buying decisions and how that impacts the things that I already have in my closet. I want to be very intentional on what I buy and how I fill in the gaps of what is in my closet. So that is how sustainable and knowing these statistics have impacted and shifted my consuming and buying habits. So, how can we move our wardrobes to this more thoughtful way of approaching what we purchase and the quality of the product that we purchase? Now, I'm not going to tell you that my wardrobe is even 1% sustainable fabrics. I do have very few items in my wardrobe that are pure linen or pure silk or pure cashmere. So that makes up maybe 1% of my wardrobe. So 99% of my wardrobe is not what would be considered sustainable fabrics, materials. But taking into account wearing the pieces for a longer period of time, which means taking better care of the clothing that as we wash them and as we wear them, to be more thoughtful about the pressures we're putting on them, the fit of our clothing, uh, and the way we care for them. So, let me give you a few tips about how to kind of shift your closet, your wardrobe, to be a closet that is going to have a little more longevity, a little more sustainability in your wardrobe. Uh, One would be to create a capsule wardrobe that fits your style personality, fits who you are. Mine is going to contain more basic styles, um, basic jeans, slacks, things that I can dress up and down that are more casual, yet conservative, but that allow me to add in my flair for glam and my sometimes desire to have a little bit of that 80s rock and roll girl edge to me. So, those are things that will be those pieces that can sustain for a longer period of time in my wardrobe, those basic pieces, and then maybe a percentage of my wardrobe would be something that would be a little more just to add flair and personality to those basics. For example, if you're a bohemian and that is your style, you are going to have a capsule wardrobe that is going to fit your style. Uh, the pieces may have the same names. You might have skirts, pants, jeans, but they have a completely different style. They're still basics in your wardrobe. So you want to have a basic capsule wardrobe that meets your style personality. And once you've built that wardrobe, here are a few things to consider. One, to see where there might be gaps. Once you've done that closet edit, once you've gotten rid of the things, and let's talk about what I mean by get rid. I mean, donate to the thrift store or to a local shelter so that those things can remain in the ecosystem of consumer wearing before they are disposed of. So I highly encourage that you find a local women's shelter, a battered women's shelter, any shelter or thrift store that will benefit or has a cause that they support is where I do most of the donating of my clothing items that I didn't keep on my last and hopefully final massive closet clean out. So knowing where those gaps are and then looking for, when you go out shopping, where to fill those gaps and how to fill those gaps, and being conscious of looking for pieces that will stand the test of time with what capsule wardrobe you are putting together. You want to have a plan on where to buy those items. Now, if you are a bohemian shopper, you're probably going to be looking more in the thrift stores or in stores that may lean more towards that bohemian vibe. brands that lean more towards that bohemian vibe, free people, which means your budget might have to be a little bigger to add those type of quality pieces into your wardrobe. For someone like me who has a more conservative dress style or is very much into just basics, jeans, a pair of black slacks, blazers, blouses, just that very more conservative wardrobe, I'll have more options. I'm just going to be looking for quality pieces that I believe that I can wear multiple times, keep for a long period of time. It doesn't matter the fashion cycle that goes in and out. I like to tell the people that I worked with before, you want to follow the 80-20 rule. 80% of your wardrobe should be made up of your capsule wardrobe, your basics, whatever that is for your style personality. And then the other 20% are adding in maybe the trend of the season that will have some staying power. There are trends that come in and out that, based on subtle shifts, you can buy things that are on trend that will sustain you from season to season, even as it fades out of style. One of the things I'm thinking of right now that is big for the summer trends is shopper bags. So the big tote bags that women are carrying, whether they're in straw or canvas or in a faux leather, you see big shopper bags being carried. That has been a fashion trend that has come in and out. And it is a trend that is a more sustainable trend. It comes in, it comes out, it comes in, it comes out, and it is a more classic piece that you probably would not go wrong in investing in. So, my last tip would be to be very thoughtful about your budget. Budget to spend a little more on quality pieces. Now, remember, quality pieces don't necessarily have to have a big price tag. You need to look for the weight of a garment. You need to look to see, is it sheer? Is it thin? Is it going to have some weight? Do you think it's going to hold up in multiple washes? Those are things. So you don't necessarily have to spend a ton of money to get quality. There are items that are expensive that are not high quality. So you need to be a person who assess that for your own, but also budget to spend a little bit more on those quality pieces and adding those into a capsule wardrobe. So overall, just be more thoughtful. Think about your purchases. Think about the things that you're buying, that you're adding to your wardrobe. Will they be an item that will have some longevity and sustainability in your style personality, and conveys what you want to convey about yourself when you dress with purpose? There is so much more conversation that could be had around sustainable fashion and the statistics and the environmental cost and everything that is around a sustainable fashion industry. We are a long way from making drastic changes in what sustainable fashion really is. But we, as individual consumers, can make thoughtful decisions about the items that we are purchasing, the items that we are donating, the items that we put back into the ecosystem of fashion, by being smarter with our purchases and being generous to give to those who need what we don't have need for. And for me, that is how I am incorporating this thought of sustainability into my everyday wardrobe and thought process about fashion. Curate a wardrobe that works for you. Now, if you want to learn kind of about how our goals and our lifestyle impacts the way we dress with purpose, I will list down in the show notes a video podcast that you can watch where I talk all about our values, our goals, our beliefs, and how that impacts how we get dressed and how we dress with purpose, so that you could watch that if you'd like. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below about what your thoughts are about sustainable fashion. Is that something you're extremely passionate about? Is that something that you want to be more thoughtful about? I would love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. If you are listening to the audio version on your favorite podcasting network, I thank you for taking me along with you. I would love to hear from you as well on what your thoughts are on sustainable fashion and how you would work that into your everyday wardrobe. As well as I would love for you to rate the podcast, share it with friends. And I'm just so thankful and humbled by your taking me with you. Whether you're listening in your car or during your workout, I am just forever grateful and thankful and humbled that you take me along with you. And I want you to remember that you get to choose every day to dress with purpose.